Hi, this video will showcase how to fetch unique rows based on one or multiple fields from a Sportsmen dataset to retrieve only the first competence. Let us begin. In the file system, I have an input folder for the input file and an output folder to store the output files. I have an Excel file. Let us see the contents. It contains a list of sportsmen and the corresponding sport they play. There are duplicate entries for some sportsmen. We wish to extract unique rows with only the first entry or the first competence for each sportsman. I am in Process Studio. I have created a project and a workflow, Sportsmen Unique Rows. Let us start the workflow creation. Drag and drop an Excel input step. Choose the correct driver. Browse the Sportsman input file. Add it to the list of files. In the Fields tab, get the fields from the header of the Excel file. Come back to the Files tab. You can make it dynamic relative to the current workflow directory. The parameter for that is internal entry current directory. Click OK. Next, add a sort row step. In the sort row step, sort on the name in ascending order. Click OK. Search for the unique rows. It shows the unique rows and the unique rows hash set steps. Drag and drop a unique row step. Unique rows is a step in the transformation plugin. The unique row step passes unique rows by removing duplicate rows from the input stream. It is a prerequisite that the input stream is sorted. Otherwise, only consecutive double rows are evaluated correctly. Unique rows hash set step gets unique occurrences using the hash set. It does not need the rows to be sorted, although it has an optional checkbox for compare using sorted row values. The unique rows hash set step tracks duplicates in memory and does not require a sorted input to process duplicate rows, and it also eliminates any false positives if there are hash collisions. In this workflow, we shall use the unique row step. Let us configure it. Check the add counter to output option to add a counter field to the stream. Provide the counter field name. Check the redirect duplicate row to process duplicate rows as an error and redirect rows to the error stream of the step. It requires you to set error handling for this step. Set the error handling description to display when duplicate rows are detected. Let us call it error unique rows. Specify the field names on which you want to force uniqueness, or click Get to insert all the fields from the input stream. You can choose to ignore case. We will only retain the name. You can choose to ignore the case by setting the ignore case flag to yes. Click OK. You get a warning that this step should be preceded by a sort row step. Acknowledge the message. Next, drag and drop the Excel writer step. Let us configure it. Let us call it player first competence. We will store the file in the output directory. Let us call it player first competence. Let us not have the extension here, and instead we will choose the extension as XLSX file, and for the content, click Get Fields. Go back to the File and Sheet tab. Let us make the file name dynamic to the current workflow directory. The current workflow directory is the internal entry current directory parameter. Click OK. Let us make a duplicate of this Excel writer step. Let us configure the second step. Let us call it Player Next Competencies. Let us also call the output file Player Next Competencies. We will come back to the Content tab later. For now, click OK. Let us configure error handling for unique rows. Right-click on the step and click Error Handling. Let me check the Enable Error Handling. I will provide an error descriptions field name. Error description. You can fill in other details such as error codes and so on. Click OK. We can now connect the unique rows to the Player Next Competencies as the error handling step and select Copy. Let us go back to the Player Next Competencies. You can go to the Content tab, click Get Fields. Now we also have error description that we configured for error handling. Click OK. We have completed the workflow. We are now ready to execute the workflow. Let's run it. Now let us go to the Preview tab. Let us start with Microsoft Excel input. It has all the 6 rows in the input file. Let us go to the Sort Rows. We sorted by the name. In the Unique Rows, we can see the unique rows, 4 of them. And it shows the counter for duplicate rows. Some of the names had duplicate rows. In the Play First competency, also we see the unique rows. And in the Play Next competencies, we can see the duplicate rows and the error description. I hope you got a fair understanding of how to use unique rows and error handling in unique rows. We saw how to get unique rows for Sportsmen First Competence. Thank you for watching.